Hey everybody, it's Mitch, and welcome to my next video. Today we have got our first ever Dungeons & Dragons 3.5 build video for a Naruto character. And today we're going to be talking about Itachi Uchiha, our boy, Sasuke's older brother. We know him, we love him, mostly. It's my most popular Naruto video, so figure we'll start the series off with him. So, I made a build. I spent literally all day working on this build today. It's absolutely nuts. I've literally been at it for hours because Itachi is awesome. So let's look at what we got. All right, so as you can see, we got our boy Itachi right there, being all cool and menacing looking. Name Itachi Uchiha. Player Mitch Burns, obviously. He's a silver brow human because, well, his great, whatever grandma is Kaguya and not exactly human. So, plus, she's got the white hair, kind of silvery. A level adjustment, none. Deity doesn't really worship anything. Medium size, 5'10", actual canon height, 128 pounds. I actually looked this stuff up, age 21. I never realized he was that young, but makes sense. Male, I made him neutral. I don't know if I really believe that, but that's what we're going with. Hair black, eyes Sharingan. Gotta go with that. So if we look at it, he's got 150 health, which isn't a ton for a 20th level character. He is 20th level, as we can see here. An 18 initiative, which is pretty dang good. He can also roll twice. Didn't note that anywhere, but yeah, he can roll twice. So if you look at his stats, base stats, 10, for strength, he's not the strongest guy in the world. Like, let's be real. He's not known for his strength. Dex, his base stat is an 18. Pretty dexterous guy. Makes sense that he'd have a pretty good dex score going on. He's got a con of 8, a little bit on the frail side, intelligence of 16, a wisdom of 9, and a charisma of 11. He's a somewhat charismatic guy, but he's pretty well hated. Then if we look, you can see AC. For some reason, touch is just wrong. I don't know why it's not including half the stuff it should. Like, it's not including dex for whatever reason. Really should, but it is what it is. We look down, we can see he's got +1 Soulfire, Fatecraft, Gnome Twist Cloth. I optimized the crap out of him, so it's a Gnome Twist Cloth is the basic item, and it has a Soulfire enchantment on it, and it's Fatecraft. So basically, with all that, it makes it so it doesn't have armor check penalties, doesn't weigh too much. Oh, and his class levels, first level Wujian, the next 4 levels were Beguiler, then we went Ultimate Magus for a while, dipped one level of Abjured Champion in while we were working on the Ultimate Magus, and put that into Wujian, and then we finished off Ultimate Magus, went back into Abjured Champion, and finished off Beguiler on that. That way, in Ultimate Magus, gave full-on Beguiler and only 7 to Wujian, so we end up with, it's an 18th level Beguiler caster. So that's what we're casting our spells at, although our actual caster level ends up at 24 after all our crazy buffs. And our Wujin, it's a 9th level caster, but it ends up at 20 after our various buffs. Abjured Champion helps a little, and then you get a bunch of buffs from other stuff. Pretty nice. We look, we can see Fortitude save 12, Reflex 19, Will 21. Fairly decent. He's got base, fly, swim in all 40. Doesn't really do a whole lot of those things, but you got to kind of make him good for D&D as well. And then we got his attacks. Melee and grapple only 12, but he's got a 21 ranged attack. Not bad at all. See how it breaks out. So that's what we've got so far. Basically, Itachi is a very interesting build. The reason why I went with Wujin and with Beguiler is Wujin gets some very particular spells, and namely Fire Shuriken was a big reason why we went for that one. And then for Beguiler, it's very ninja-esque, as well as it's a caster, which Itachi's very strong. He's got a lot of very powerful spells. I mean, Naruto doesn't have those, but he's got a lot of very powerful jutsu. He can use those too. So we need to give him some sort of casting to deal with the whole jutsu thing that he's got going on, which is his main form of attack. Like, he doesn't really attack with weapons that much. He is quite good with shuriken, and you'll see that later in the build that he does have that. Now, he's more about his jutsu than anything. That's why we kind of went with that. All right, so coming back into the sheet, you can see so we have max ranks and concentration, just smart for as a caster. Cipher script, 18. He has 1 in bluff, which comes from one of his items, which is kind of funny because he actually does have some use for bluff. He has cipher script. There was that time in the show where he went in and deciphered that scroll underneath, or that tablet or scroll. I can't remember what it was, but underneath the meeting room of the Uchiha clan. Let's see what else we got. Disguise, I mean, makes some sense. Intimidate, I mean, he can be kind of scary. I threw that in kind of at the end. Jump, I mean, It's always useful in Naruto. They're always jumping from trees. Knowledge Arcana, very important to have that maxed out. Also gave him some local and history to take early on because, back in his younger days, he probably got to know the lay of the Leaf Village pretty well and learned about the history of the Uchiha clan. So, he's got a little bit of know-how in those things. Also got that search, makes sense. He's got the Sharingan, Spellcraft, maxing out all the very important caster one spot, again for Sharingan. And he's got like a little bit of use magic device, not too much. He's, got his stuff going on. So if you look he's got a crazy number of abilities. These are all his feats. So, Featherfall, Watchful Spirit, Armored Mage, Trap Finding. These are all things that he gets for his races and classes, various different things. So Ferocious Apprentice, it's how we were able to get into Ultimate Mages with only one level of Wujen. Combat Casting, that's required for Abjuran Champion, which we took. Silence Spell is just a good one. Practice Caster Wujen. One, it makes our Wujen spells better. And two, we take it early so that we can make it so that Ultimate Magus is buffing Beguiler and not our Wujen. We have Extend Spell. Well, that's useful and particularly good for Persistent Spell, which is a big part of this. We have Still Spell, which is just useful. Practical Meta Magic Persist. We can then use that with Augment Casting 8 times a day in order to do some pretty cool stuff. We'll talk about that in a second. We have Quicken Spell, just useful to have. Practice Caster Beguiler gets our caster level up nice and high. And Searing Spell, lots of really cool stuff. Got our attacks down here. We have Fire Shuriken, which we're making. And with our Searing Spell, we're just going to be making those on our downtime regularly, getting a whole bunch of those going on. Doesn't do a ton of damage, only 3d6 plus 5, but it is searing damage, and we can throw them with iteratives and all that. And we have Fire Breath that we can do because we actually are going to be having persisted Fire Breath, so we can just do that for 10d8 fire damage whenever we feel like it's touched. I don't even know if this is actually accurate. Let's see. So yeah, so far that's what we got. So Itachi, yeah, he's a very interesting character. As you can see, he has a couple of attacks. It's a little bit on the frail side. His HP isn't super high for 20th level character. It's actually quite low. Got a dumped fortitude save. He's kind of frail. Like, the guy is sickly. He's not known for being able to take a hit, but at the same time, he's also quite good at avoiding being hit. That's where his skill really lies, is not getting hit and having a million ways to prevent himself from getting hit. And he definitely has a lot of ways to do that. Largely with it, one, he has crazy high AC, plus he's got a million Beguiler spells, which can be used to make it so that enemies will have a really hard time hitting him. He has various different create major images and all that fun stuff. On top of that, he has all sorts of other stuff, like he felt like it just used greater invisibility, and he could even persist that if he wanted to make it last all day. So that's pretty nice. So he could do all sorts of things if he really wanted to really make himself hard to hit. And he could, combine greater invisibility with a persistent image, and then just, walk a little bit to the side of major image of himself. And, people are going to try and attack the image when really he's somewhere else. So he's got a million tricks up his sleeve to keep himself safe. And he's also has displacement. So let's look at the items we got. There's a ton. Toma of Clear Thought plus 5, Manual of Quickness in Action plus 4, just to buff his dex and intelligence. He has a Beat of Karma, which will make his buffing spells, which he has a lot of. It'll make them last all day, plus they'll be harder to dispel. And Lesser Meta Magic Rod Chain Spell. You can use that to cast Greater Magic Weapon on all those Shuriken, which is how they got the buffs that they did. Very useful to have. He has a little bit of money left over. That's his weight. Not exactly a ton. He ain't the strongest guy out there. So you can see he's got all sorts of items. Holy crap. Headband of Intellect plus 6, Mask of Silent Trickery. You can look up all this stuff. I'll leave this up for a little bit. Amulet of Natural Armor plus 5. Freaking Phoenix Cloak, Banner of Storm's Eye Resistance plus 5. Plus 1 Soul Fire, Fakecraft, Gnome, Twistcloth. We talked about this one. Dispelling Cord, plus 8 Bracers of Armor and Dexterity plus 6. Gauntlets of Extended Range. This is what gives us a larger range on our Shuriken. Belt of Battle and Constitution plus 6. Very useful to have. Belt of Battle is awesome. And Belt of Constitution literally gives us so much more health. Boots of Agile Leaping. It part of why we can jump so good. Ring of Anticipation and Protection, +5, which is what lets us reroll initiatives. And then we have Ring of Enduring Arcana and Spell Battle. So we got all sorts of crazy stuff. We got all sorts of immunities. So we're immune to mind affecting, divinations, death effects, energy drain, negative energy, stun, fear, confusion, and magic missile. So much stuff. This is an absolutely insane build. Yeah, it's crazy. Yeah, so there's a lot of items. It's fairly highly optimized. It's not the most optimized, but it is pretty heavily optimized. I had a lot of help making it. It wasn't just all me. I had so much help making this. So definitely much appreciate all the help I got from this. Actually, the Giants of the Playground Discord server, they were actually the ones helping me out. So shout outs to those guys. So we have spell save DC decently high. That's our various ranges. Then we have our total spells, pretty decent. That's all our Beguiler spells. Wujen is right here on spells known, but that's just our spells per day. That's actually not spells known. We actually listed out our spells known. This makes more sense. You can see here, Jump, Ventriloquism, Shield, Persisted, which means we're going to have Shield up all day. Unseen Servant, Magic Missile, True Strike, Fire Eye, Summon Monster 1, and Shock and Awe. In Shock and Awe, we added to the Beguiler list. And we also added Jump, Beguiler list, because, you know, we might want to be able to jump a lot. People are jumping all the time in Naruto. You know what I mean? Then we have Fire Shuriken, which we also gave to the Beguiler, so we can cast that. We have Heart of Air, Wall of Gloom, Rope Trick. Heart of Air is just a really good one. Then we have Heart of Water for 3rd level, Fireball, which we also gave to the Beguiler, so it's on the Beguiler list. You can cast it spontaneously. Greater Magic Weapon, which we're going to be putting on our Fire Shuriken a lot. We have Armor Spikes on our armor. We're also going to be putting that on that. That will show here in a little bit. Illusory Script. We have Fire Shield, Heart of Earth, Scrying, Dimension Door, and we'll give that to Beguiler, so you can get out of there if we ever need to. We have Fire Breath, which we gave to the Beguiler, and we Persisted. So yeah, we can just cast that whenever we want. Heart of Fire, Teleport, we also have, so good stuff. Those are our spell save DCs, both Beguiler and Wujen, and the saves with the beads. Then we have Mind Blank. We cast every day as a Beguiler, so... Oh, and right here, that's what I was talking about before. I kind of missed that before, but we have +1, Eager, Warning, Spellblade, Greater Dispel Magic, so we are immune to Greater Dispel Magic, the targeted version at least, and Armor Spikes. So losing all our buffs would be hard to do. They'd have to Greater Dispel Magic in an area which can only get 1, and potentially. So that's not bad. Plus, very hard to dispel. You could use regular Dispel Magic, would still work. And of course, there's the auto dispel of Disjunction. But, you know, that one's just nasty, and there's really nothing you can do about that. So, that's the Itachi build. I think it's pretty good. I think it covered a lot of the stuff. I mean, Itachi is shown to be very good with Shuriken, and he has a decently high base attack bonus, and he has a really high dex. Plus, he's able to enchant them with a +5. So he's able to hit reasonably reliably with the Shuriken. Could be better, sure, but that's about as good as you can get. He also has True Strike, so if he really needs to hit, he can. So that's something, but that's only going to be with 1 attack. Not completely true to the show, but still pretty good. On top of that, he has Fire Breath that he can do all day. He has that persistence, so basically he can do Fireball Jutsu at will. I thought that was a pretty good touch. He also has Fireball spell, so he can, you know, launch that at a range. So I think he's got a pretty good mix of what Itachi has. A lot of the spells that you see listed there, they're not even all of them, because he has the full Beguiler spell list, and that's the main stuff that he has. He has all the way to 9th level spells there, so he's going to be dropping all sorts of really good illusion spells, and he can do it with spell slots, and he has a lot of them. He can kind of mix up what he does, because he's casting spontaneously. I'd say it's a pretty solid build overall. Very strong. I think it fits Itachi decently well. It's not perfect, but it's really hard to make anything perfect in D&D 3.5. A big reason why I went with level 20 is because Itachi he's pretty strong, so I figure making him strong would be a good idea for the build. Give him a nice level 20. Other builds that I'm going to do in the future aren't always going to be level 20. It's going to depend very much on their level. So lower level characters are going to be lower level, and higher level characters like Naruto and Sasuke are going to be higher level. Those guys get ridiculous by the end. And then, you know, lower level guys, we're going to be covering some pretty simple stuff with these two. But this is Itachi. Hope you liked the video. Let me know what you guys think of it, because I'm really curious. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know what you think. Let me know if you think it really matches with Itachi's vibe. I think I did a decent job with it. I literally spent all day on this with the help of a lot of people, and I've been kind of planning it out for the last week. This has been absolutely insane making this. So let me know what you guys think down in the comments below. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a like. Please subscribe for more D&D 3.5 content and more Naruto builds. I stream on Twitch now, so I got a link down in the description below, as well as a link to my Discord. So check that out. You can help me make builds like this over there. So yeah, as always, I'm Mitch. I'll be seeing you